Johnson or West are set for the opening tap. And game 6 is underway. Dan Marley controls. Kevin Johnson, who has had a brilliant series, picked up by Avery Johnson. And West over for the pick. Now backs off. Marley with a big, hard-charging drive into the lane, and West is there for the putback.
Well, you can see right away Dan Marley's agenda is to try to put the ball on the floor and get into the middle of the Spurs defense.
Much like what's worked so well for Sean Elliott. And Robinson goes to the hoop, stops, rebound out to A.J. Long bounce across to Ellis, who had his best game of the postseason Tuesday with 24 points. 10 of 13, 3 of 3 from three-point land, the most encouraging number of all. Suns 2-0. Three-pointer from Marley, who has all the points so far. From three-point land over the last several games, he has been searching for that three-point shot, and he's finally found it. Underneath, they double-team Robinson. Cutter, J.R. Reed, jump hook for the first points for the Spurs. John Lucas going very precariously into his bench on Tuesday because of the injury woes. Interesting to see how he substitutes here. Barkley misfires on the three-pointer. 4 of 17 from three-point land in the postseason. Running one-hander, Avery Johnson. And it's 5-4 Phoenix.
Typical Suns during the season offense with Marley shooting the three, Charles Barkley shooting the three. This is a very wide open team. They'll start from outside and then try to get inside, as we see Barkley here.
J.R. Reed more than equal to the task as Barkley took him single coverage down inside the lane. The only thing Johnson did not do, or J.R. Reed did not do, is come up with that loose ball after the rejection of Barkley, and the shot clock showing 10 seconds.
We saw there J.R. Reed's got a real good idea of Barkley's rhythm and what he's going to try to do. And this is the kind of thing that happens in the playoffs and in terms of individual matchups, is that you don't play these guys all the time, but when you play them every night, you get a feeling for their fakes. You get a feeling for when they're going to go for the shot and where. Barkley likes to lean and use his strength and get around you. J.R. Reed was up to it, up to the task.
Robinson stays up high, bangs in the jump shot, gives the Spurs their first lead at 6-5. 5 straight by the Suns to start it, and the Spurs answer with 6 in a row. Quick turn off the glass by Barkley. Boy, in game 5, no first quarter field goals, only one in the entire first half, and they're not wasting any time getting it on track here. Thank you. Marley backing away. That left some room for Sean Elliott, and in and out on the running one-hander. Kevin Johnson up to the front court. And again, it's Barkley. Single coverage by Reed. Barkley delivers.
2 tough shots by Charles Barkley. If he hits those all night, the Spurs are just going to shake his hand. But those are the kind of shots you want to force him into.
In the traffic, Reed. In and out. Spurs have been plagued by in and out shots here in these first 3+ minutes. Kevin Johnson cut off by Ellis. Weaves his way back in, and the wraparound pass to West, who got Robinson up off his feet, but traveled. First turnover, Mark West. West, who played 33 minutes on Tuesday, the longest stretch we've seen him in this series. We saw only 14 minutes that night of Oliver Miller. Westfall going from what had been a very balanced center rotation. And going with his veteran. 9-6 Phoenix, 8:25 in the first. Slow pace to start this with a blistering pace began Tuesday night's game. Both teams way above 60% in the first half. Dale Ellis bangs in the 8th three-pointer of his postseason. And we're tied at 9. His 4th in a row without a miss from three-point land. Marley in traffic. Marley with the runner. The 11-9 Suns. Avery Johnson quickly down. Whips it inside to the Admirals. And a foul on Mark West.
We'll get another look. The Suns a little bit late recognizing how quickly the Spurs got the ball down the court. Mark West not paying that much attention to Robinson, and it was too late when he decided to turn. I think the Suns in this first quarter haven't come out with nearly the pressure defense, the really overplay defense that they started the game with in Game 5 in Phoenix. It didn't work for them for most of the game until late, and I think they've adjusted defensively. It's going to leave more open shots out on the court. They're not getting the pass over the top that was met with the backdoor cuts and the passes over the top that they were getting in Game 5.
Richard Dumas handles it for the first time. Muscles in over Dale Ellis, and Robinson with a hand up. Barkley with the rebound. 6 for Barkley. Phoenix back on top, 13-12.
Barkley, courtesy of Mark West being on the boards. He had J.R. Reed occupied, and the ball came off, and he was able to catch.
Dale Ellis is in and out. Another one of those. Barkley with the rebound, the dribble out, and the three-point try. Got to watch him every second. 9 for Barkley. 7 attempts already, and he's nailed 4 of them. 7 shots in 5 minutes for Sir Charles. Phoenix by 4. Reed muscles in, stripped by Barkley. Throws it away, but Avery Johnson loses his footing, and Kevin Johnson picks up the loose ball. 4-on-2 for the Suns. Marley sets up for the 3. Barkley for the follow. Robinson knocked away by Dumas. Spurs ball.
A lot of contact on that rebound by David Robinson, who looked to the official.
Elliott slipping inside for the slam. 16-14. Big exchange there after the Suns had a 4-on-2 and came away with nothing because of the defense by Robinson. Air ball short, down to Kevin Johnson in the first Spur foul of the evening. Suns able to slip through the angles and get some offensive rebounds. The Spurs have been the dominant rebounding team when they have played well in this series, and it's a good rebounding start for Phoenix. The foul is on Avery Johnson, a timeout with 6:22 in the first quarter. Many games seem to score at will during the regular season. Of course, that's harder to do when they slow it down in the postseason, but they'll tell you that maybe in Game 1 of this series, the closest they've come to playing the style of ball that brought them the best regular season record in the league with 62 wins. Kevin Johnson has 1 of 2, and the Suns go up 17-14. And Barkley not shy with the trigger finger as he was the other night early. 9 attempts already, and he's made 4. 8-4 rebounding edge for the Suns. That'll be troublesome for John Lucas. Avery with a right-hand finish over Barkley. AJ's had some terrific games, including Tuesday. 12 points, 15 assists, 46 minutes.
Boy, until you that far away from the basket, I imagine AJ hadn't made that many shots with his right hand in his whole life.
Volleyball game won by Barkley. Turns it over on the underthrown pass to Robinson, and it's AJ waiting for help. 3rd Phoenix turnover. Driving Sean Elliott is tied up by Marley.
Dan Marley, all second-team NBA defensive player. Elliott breaks him down off the dribble. We see that. He gets by him a little bit, but Dan Marley keeps moving his feet, gets his left hand right on top of the ball.
That's sheer strength. And that belongs to the Spurs. John Lucas, like Paul Westphal, preaching, let's play loose, let's be us. He figured out who us is after not liking the slowdown pace they had in games 1 and 2 out in Arizona. Back cut, beautiful. Johnson with 6.
Boy, as soon as Kevin Johnson left Avery just found him. You got to find a place where Dave can deliver the ball. That time the hole was right in the middle of the defense.
AJ tries to get untracked and rattles in his first bucket. He's had a terrific series as well. 54% from the field. Ellis off contact, the air ball. And they hurry it up the court to Barkley. 11 points for Barkley. Phoenix goes back up by 3, 21-18.
Charles Barkley never really crossed half court. A little bit lazy. He's playing a very lazy first quarter, although he's been very involved in the offense.
You're good if you're lazy and you can get 11 points in about 7 minutes, as he's done. On half speed. And in the face of J.R. Reed, knocked out. Officials disagree. O'Donnell says Spurs ball, and Jack Madden will go with that call. Richard Dumas said to have been the last Sun to touch it. And O'Donnell explaining his decision to Madden. Madden in turn to Steve Javy. Javy's saying let's jump it up. O'Donnell, I don't think.
O'Donnell seems real sure.
Yeah, I don't know that O'Donnell will go with the jump it up compromise. Or maybe he will.
Jake is wrong. It goes off the back of David Robinson. I think this is a break for the Spurs, which is well deserved.
Well, you can't get too many of those at home. That's the theory. So the compromise will stand. And the Spurs should win it. It's Robinson against Dumas. They're going to say David quick tapped it, and it goes over to the Suns. Thing is that against Dumas, you don't have to quick jump him. You can just do it straight up.
I think Jack Madden got his way in the end on that deal.
AJ tried to strip KJ. 4:25 in the period. 21-18 Phoenix. Dumas travels. Could not get Robinson to lead his feet. And the Suns turn it over for the fourth time.
And now Jake O'Donnell got his way.
We need to keep a separate scorecard. Spurs, Suns, and Zebras. Elliott. A 2 for Sean Elliott. 6 of 15. Not a good shooting night Tuesday. He brings them within one at 21-20. And a holding foul as KJ takes AJ in deep. Second foul on Avery Johnson. Westfall will go to Cedric Ceballos, who at times during the series he seemed to forget about. He played in 14 minutes and he delivered with perfect 4-for-4 shooting, 8 points and 3 assists Tuesday after not playing at all in Game 4. And the begoggled Willie Anderson makes his debut, replacing Dale Ellis. Coaches were saying that they hope that even though it's new to have to wear goggles, that the concentration that would be required for Willie might overcompensate for the fact that he's playing hurt. J.R. Reed with the first foul as he tries to set up low against Charles Barkley defensively. Third team foul, and again they go right at J.R. Reed. Now the help comes from Mr. Robinson. Thrown away behind Ceballos. Fifth Phoenix giveaway in this first quarter. And Barkley has 3 of them. Low to David. Up high to Elliott. Misses the slashing one-hander. Running out was Marley. Barkley didn't see him in time. Three-pointer for Sir Charles, his second of the day. Suns by 4.
Barkley jawing at the Spurs bench after that second 3. The good news is that Charles Barkley probably won't play the whole game at this kind of offensive level.
He can't. It's impossible. Three-pointer is just long by Anderson. Reed with the follow-up. Perfect. And through all Barkley's heroics, his team just leads by 2. He's due for a rest. And his team seems to be in the rhythm of standing by and letting Charles do it. That worked in the fourth quarter Tuesday, but will it work for the entire game tonight? Ceballos left alone. Rattles it in. 26-22.
You see how far the Suns are playing off in this game. Much more distant. The Spurs are going to have to shoot like that shot from Sean. Shoot from range a little better than they did in Game 5.
This is another shootout. 11-21 for the Spurs. 11-20 for the Suns, who have hit 4 of their last 5. 2:05 in the period. Mismatch. Marley drives on the anvil and scores. 7 for Marley. Suns again by 4 under the 2-minute mark in the first quarter. intended for J.R. Reed, who went inside, and the pass went outside. Third San Antonio turnover. Timeout. 1:47 in the first quarter, with the Suns on top here in Game 6 by 4. Frank Johnson, the sub at point guard for Kevin Johnson for the Suns. They lead 28-24. 92nd mark, first quarter. Barkley immediately tests Mr. Mean, and the jump shot is rebounded by Avery Johnson. Foot race with Frank Johnson all the way around, and the finger roll for Willie Anderson.
Great play, great ball handling by Avery Johnson, and a lot of pressure from Frank Johnson going down the court.
Barkley doubled, open man, Ceballos. The Spurs have not had to deal with all that much.
He hasn't been very high on the chalkboard for Sean. That time he came off of the guy Marley that he was guarding, a guy that you really want to be close to with those long-range shots. But Ceballos has gotten a little room, and he's made 2 in a row.
Double team, shoots anyway, misses. Rebound, number 7 by Barkley. The entire Spurs roster with 7 boards. Marley wants to post up Elliott. Has to give it up. Frank Johnson hits the jump shot. Everybody into the act, and the mark of a very loose team knocking down these open jump shots. Biggest lead of the game, 6 points for the Suns. Their kind of pace, although in games 3 and 4, was also for the Spurs' liking. AJ misses on the drive, and the Suns would have looked for a last shot, but that's going to be the 3rd foul on Avery Johnson, whose feet got tangled up with Frank Johnson's. Vinny Del Negro will have to come in. That could be a very costly foul, considering he wanted to do anything but commit number 3 right there. And for the Suns, Danny Ainge makes his first appearance. Extra shooter in. They pull West to center. Not many power forwards will run the quarter-ending play. We'll see one do it here. Anderson a hand on it. Ainge, runner at the buzzer, is no good. And the end of the first quarter, as was the 4th quarter the other night. It's the Charles Barkley show. 14 points, 7 rebounds for Sir Charles, as he puts his Suns on his shoulders and carries into a 32-20. Three-pointer, and the goggles apparently not a problem for Willie.
Well, Frank Johnson came across a double on Dave, and they just gave Willie plenty of time to measure the distance and the wind and everything else on that field.
And then Tom Chambers, who opens this quarter with a rainbow fall away, 34-29.
You see all of the Suns way back off of the Spurs. They're going to give San Antonio the outside game, hoping that they can outscore them. That time, Willie, despite with no pressure at all, he takes the ball into the lane and hits the running one-hander.
He's got that gleam in his goggles tonight. I saw that look in the Portland series.
All I got to do is keep those goggles clean.
Oliver Miller on for the first time. Marley gets a good look at it. And the roll, 9 for Marley. Phoenix 36-31. Couple of times down has been trying to post up Marley. Can't get the roll. That's the story of the Spurs offense in this first half. Johnson. Chambers misses the lay-in. Del Negro out of midair, and they'll take it the other way. Another 3 for Anderson. He has all 8 Spur points in the second period to keep it close. Knocked out by Larry Smith in the matchup on the baseline with Chambers.
Larry Smith, the problem with his knee, it's cramping or something. He's trying to get it loosened up.
And they'll get a 20-second timeout call to get him taken care of and Terry Cummings into the game.
It looks like he might have a spasm in the back of his knee. He was trying to get it loose, and Chambers looked at him and tried to beat him off the dribble, and Larry Smith still made the play.
Anderson over to take a look at him. Few things are more painful, even for just a short period of time, than cramps, and he's going to hop all the way down to the bench. Anderson got the steal as Chambers tried to feed Ceballos inside. Terry Cummings for the slam.
Great look from Vinny Del Negro as Terry Cummings beat a lazy Suns team down the court.
Our third tie of the night. Johnson misses. Willie Anderson led second period surge. Del Negro tripped up that time and rejected, but he's okay. Miller back behind him. Marley, now Chambers. Marley again. Make it Chambers, and a 3-second violation on the Suns.
Great decision making on the part of the Spurs. Seemed real subtle, but Terry Cummings, realizing Marley wanted the three, closed on him and actually gave him something a little bit easier. Good decision.
John Lucas set to hand out goggles to everybody else on his team during this timeout. 9:11 to play in the first half. We're tied 36-36 in game 6. 9-minute mark, first half. Spurs shoot for the lead. Terry Cummings against his former Clipper teammate Tom Chambers. He drops in a bomb out of nowhere. Cummings with 4, 38-36 Spurs.
What a battle right there between two veteran players who used to be teammates, Chambers and Terry Cummings.
Reportedly not real fond of each other. Only one ball apparently the problem in the Clippers. Ainge lost out of bounds by Cummings. Terry and Anderson setting the tone, however, with a torrid second quarter start off the bench. 12-4 Spurs in this period. Kevin Johnson has returned. And Marley. Chambers had Del Negro on his back. First San Antonio foul of the period. The word, by the way, on Larry Smith is he twisted the knee. It wasn't a cramp. He twisted his knee, and it is unknown whether he'll be back in this game. So what was the deepest position on the roster all of a sudden isn't quite so deep. You got no Antoine Carr. You may not have Larry Smith the rest of the way. So Cummings and J.R. Reed could be it at big forward. Marley forced into a wild miss, and the Spurs come up looking for more than a 2-point lead. Off the knee of Cummings, picked up by Ainge. Chambers runs the floor, reverse jam. Tom Chambers. Scoreless in 4 minutes on Tuesday. Another guy that Westfall seemed to forget about. But he makes sure that he gets Ceballos, Chambers, and Miller, all three in early tonight. Robinson, power move, fouled. Oliver Miller was on his back.
Same kind of play that Oliver Miller was having an enormous amount of trouble with in Phoenix, and Westfall finally pulled him out of the game. He tried to front Robinson in Phoenix. He tries to front again, and Willie Anderson with a nice pass over the top. Miller not quick enough to recover.
David, a 75% free thrower during the regular season, has struggled during the postseason, 66%. But Sunday, a franchise record 18 of 23 at the stripe. Seemed to wear down at the line in the second half of game 5. Missed 5 out of 6 after hitting all 3 in the first half. Kevin Johnson. Tipped by Ellis to Del Negro. 40-38, San Antonio by 2. If they win, back to Phoenix for game 7, 2:30 Saturday afternoon. Robinson saw the opening.
Miller once again trying to help on the pick, help his teammate Kevin Johnson, but David was able to move him over about a foot, and that's all it took. Miller without any speed going defensively to the basket.
Miller. Oh, looked like Cummings got mostly ball on the attempted jam, but Does not argue the foul, his first and the team's second.
Terry Cummings initially was on Miller after a switch. Miller ends up on the weak side, gets the ball, and as he tries to take it to the basket, Cummings is right there. Terry's really been hitting some people inside since he's come onto the court. He battered Marley when he had it in deep. That time he takes a pretty good shot at Miller. He ran over Kevin Johnson at half court, just coming back on defense a little while ago.
Well, we talked in the Portland series about how John Lucas brought Willie Anderson along for just such an eventuality. And sure enough, he was able to perhaps be the MVP of that series. Terry Cummings likewise brought along just for a situation like this, because Lucas figured at some point in the postseason they would need him. Tonight is that night. Ellis, three-pointer.
Great ball movement by the Spurs. 3 passes away.
Ellis with his second and the team's 4th three-pointer of this half. Answering with the slam, Miller, as the Spurs' interior defense a little leaky.
That time a little bit of confusion as to who was guarding who. I'm not sure who's matched up right now. Terry Cummings is guarding Miller or Barkley.
Del Negro all the way past KJ. He has really abused Kevin Johnson on several occasions in this series.
And you see what happens when there's no defensive center in there. That time Miller not going to leave Robinson at all. And Vinny's able to go all the way to the basket with the ball.
Barkley misses the three. Robinson running the floor. So is Cummings. Tangle of arms in there. Loose ball over to KJ. You always have the feeling that these Suns don't think any lead is insurmountable. They have that much faith in their offense. And Ainge bangs in the 20-footer. His first points, they're back within 3.
This is so much like the Suns played all year long, where they just try to find the first best shot. That time Ainge with Cummings on him, all he needed was just a little bit of a pick, and he was ready to fire.
Anderson for the pick and roll, took Ainge back the other way and draws the foul. 5 minutes and 17 seconds in the first half. Ainge with his first foul, team's second, and a timeout. As Anderson gets the deserved congratulations of his teammates. He's the main reason the Spurs lead this game by in hostile dressing territory. Shows a lot of courage, or perhaps just a simple lack of common sense by the gentleman.
Really already picking up on the mode of a lot of guys who wear goggles all the time, taking them off during the free throws.
12 off the bench for Willie Anderson. 4 of 5 from the field. KJ breaks him down. Willie ahead to J.R. Reed, who's back in. Almost thrown away. Ellis with a save, but he stepped out of bounds. 6 San Antonio turnover. And Lucas especially hates those in transition, because the whole idea offensively is get people loose before the Sun defense can set itself on opportunities just like that. Offensive foul, Kevin Johnson, his first.
Well, 2 times in a row we saw what Paul Westphal did in the huddle. They wanted to isolate Willie Anderson, who's really hurting him, and they wanted to isolate him on the side where Kevin Johnson could take him off the dribble. This time Willie the beneficiary of an offensive charge call.
DC ready to take Oliver Miller on the reverse. Big quarter for Terry Cummings, and the Spurs have their biggest lead at 7.
That time TC just fooled Oliver Miller. Of course, he hadn't been around to see TC having done that about 10,000 times in his career.
Marley in and out, and his shot's not starting to behave in the second period. Suns are down to 48% for the game. The Spurs are up to 60% on 21 of 35. Can go up 9 here. 4:09 to play. First half, Danny Ainge gave Willie Anderson a knee from behind. His second foul in the third against the team.
Countering at the other end, using Willie Anderson's size against the defense of Danny Ainge. He takes a swipe at Willie and gets called for the foul.
Tom Chambers returns for Oliver Miller. Quick turn, baseline off the bottom of the backboard. As it appeared, Anderson slipped just a bit. Marley He gets in deep, and he's fouled by Ellis. 11 for Marley. Third San Antonio foul, first on Dale.
Well, a tough shot and a tough pass. Marley off balance. We get another look at it. He comes through the lane and off balance, just sort of leaning away. Didn't look like much of a foul.
Looked like Dale standing straight up and Marley leaning into him to create the impression of contact and getting the whistle. Terrible shooting postseason for Marley. 56% from the line, 39% from the field, and 28% from three-point range, where he made more than anybody except Reggie Miller in the NBA during the season. And that's a big reason why, as we said at the outset, the Suns really don't think they've played even one game to the level that they showed consistently during the regular season. In and out for Cummings. Barkley is back in. Just a 4-point game. Neither team is led by more than 7. 3.5 minutes, first half. Opening up in the middle, Kevin Johnson hits the scoop. Fans wanted another charge on KJ. They cut it to 2.
Pretty good no call, really. J.R. Reed trying to fake the charge in the middle of the lane.
Suns with 5 straight. Cummings tapped it out. It'll be picked up by Barkley. In a foot race with Del Negro. Behind the back, KJ knocked out of bounds. Terrific defensive play by Anderson, who wouldn't give up on it. Timeout, Suns. Even after Barkley beat Willie to that loose ball, Willie stayed after it and prevented the layup.
Boy, and it really looked like it might have gone out of bounds off of Kevin Johnson.
Really did. It'll be Phoenix ball. Should we go to a game 7, it will be Saturday at 2:30. It'll be in the America West Arena in Phoenix. NBC will have the national telecast, and the Spurs radio network on the air at 2 p.m. for the pregame show Saturday afternoon. That huddle very confident in the first quarter, and not quite so loose in 3 as they were since this second quarter run that's been led by the Spurs bench.
Sit back and listen to see if you can guess tonight's music trivia. Brought to you by KSAT 12.
In game 6's all-time in the Spurs history, they're 2-4. On the other hand, history battling history here. They have won their last 4 at home, of course, all here in the postseason. And in the Robinson era at home, they're 10-2 in the playoffs when he plays, and this discounts the game against the Suns in the first round last year, where he still had the thumb surgery. When Robinson actually suits up at home in the playoffs, the Spurs are 10-1. Now that's a Jordanian type number.
Pretty good number right there.
Once again, the 92-93 Spurs team photos available at your local HEB photo place. 5x7 photo. You can get it free when you bring your film in for Texas Star Service in-store processing at any participating HEB photo place. One more look at the play we just showed you by Willie Anderson.
Here's the shot by Vinny Del Negro. Just in and out. Cummings tries to tap it out. Barkley's chasing, and he tries to tap it ahead, but Willie gets his hand on it. And Willie just won't give up on this play. Just keeps coming. Del Negro's there to help, and it looks like Kevin Johnson just threw the ball out of bounds.
Back live, Kevin Johnson misses a jumper because, again, of Willie Anderson's defense. Barkley called for his first foul as he pushed J.R. Reed on the low block. Team's 4th. Spurs have been called for 3. Elliott is returned for Del Negro. Robinson taking Chambers on the dribble. Ducks underneath and misses the lay-in. They would work awfully hard to miss that shot, and this time Anderson bumped into that backboard standard by KJ, so Willie responding with just a little message.
Willie didn't like with the leading left hand. We'll see Kevin watch him stick his left hand up into Willie's, trying to push his hand away, and then pushed him out of bounds.
See, the thing is, if you're a player all season long, that has been an offensive foul. All of a sudden in the postseason, it's a no call. And it's got to be confusing and frustrating to the guy who gets the elbow in the face, as Willie did. The whole reason he's wearing the goggles on Tuesday night.
Well, back in the old days, you take care of that yourself. In this day and age, you have to wait for the officials to handle it for you. Most players, all players, let me clear that up, don't like elbows up in your face. And when that happens, usually you'll warn them, get your elbow out of my face, and then you take care of it yourself. Nowadays, you have to wait for the officials to do that for you.
KJ has 6 straight by Phoenix to cut it to 151-50. Again, low to the Admiral, off balance, and it goes with a foul on Tom Chambers.
Get another look. Robinson just trying to out-quick Chambers into the middle. Jake O'Donnell from half court calls not much of a push, really, and the ball falls in.
Suns will use their 22nd timeout. Gives up an opportunity to welcome those watching us tonight at La Villita on First Choice, celebrating the Fiesta of the Military. We're glad to have you folks with us. Hustle board, still a troublesome rebound edge for Phoenix. When the Spurs have controlled the glass, they have controlled the game. Biggest example of that was the second half Sunday in Game 4. 30-10 rebound edge. For San Antonio translated itself to a 67-49 scoreboard edge in the second half, and the Spurs ran away to win that one by 14. No doubt they hope for a repeat here tonight to send it back over to Phoenix for Game 7. Up by 4, 54-50. Robinson is 4 for 4 from the line.
And he's going to pick up Charles Barkley for this last 2-minute stretch.
This is not a matchup that has been bothering Barkley that much. It does here. Barkley's had a problem with underthrowing his entry passes tonight. That's about the 3rd or 4th turnover off just that very problem. Reed stops and pops. Knew it was short. 11th first half rebound for Sir Charles. Haynes sets up for the three-pointer. Way long. Air ball. Picked up by Anderson. No call as KJ thought he was hammered. Now the call, it's against Avery Johnson. He has 4. John Lucas had just put him back in the game, and now we may not see him until maybe the 4th quarter.
Heads-up play by Danny Ainge. You saw Kevin Johnson go down. Wouldn't give him the flop. But Avery, with that look-away play that he makes so much, this is part of playing the same team 5 times in a row. Now we're into the 6th time, and he played that play perfectly and took the charge.
Once again, a bench performer has got to step up. In this case, it's Del Negro. Almost goaltended by Barkley. Might have touched that one. Fans down there thought he did.
Really looked like he did.
Lakers series, of course. He goaltended. Got away with it. Robinson, second chance. Air ball that time. Phoenix can tie it. KJ hammered.
A little payback by Willie Anderson. He hit KJ real hard on this play.
Second foul on Willie, who got his money's worth. That's the playoff foul. Fans just saw on Jumbotron the apparent goaltending that Barkley got away with on that last possession. KJ just 2 for 5 from the foul line. He's 83% during the postseason overall. Tell you, normally though, if you have Jake O'Donnell officiating, it really takes a terrible call to get either coach upset. That's just in general, no matter where Jake officiates and no matter who's officiating with him. Generally viewed to be the best official in the league and generally gets the biggest benefit of the doubt of any official. Anderson, give and go. Reed hammered by Danny Ainge, and that's his 3rd. Ainge, the only son with more than 1.
Created by Willie Anderson, coming off of a J.R. Reed pick. Danny Ainge realizing Reed was going right to the basket. You see Danny Ainge trying to reach in and knock that ball loose as JR goes off. That's really coming off real hard. Run right into Barkley as he steps up, and he kicks it back to JR.
Spurs is still a perfect 8 for 8 from the line. Back up by 3. 40-second mark, first half. Pick and roll, Barkley and KJ. Marley for the three-pointer. Dan Marley steps up with a pair of threes and 15 first-half points. He's outscored Charles Barkley by 1. Done it quieter, but he's done it. They've combined for over half the Phoenix offense. Reed with the response. Has 8. 58, 56, 16 seconds. Shot clock is turned off. Suns might well look for another three-pointer here, and the psychological as well as scoreboard edge going into halftime.
Same play they just ran, only from the other side of the court.
KJ fumbles it. Reed, no time for the shot by Del Negro, but the Spurs will have the lead as they head to their halftime locker room. And Hemisphere Arena responds. What may be the last game ever in this building if the Spurs don't hang on to this halftime lead in games. Neither team led by more than 7 points in that first half. And the Spurs go to David Robinson. Cut off by West. Stolen by Barkley, who read another pass from the weak side and is fouled by Ellis. Second foul on Dale. Mercy, who was the unfortunate cameraman down there. Or men. Barkley big enough to take out 2 separate instruments.
Well, that play all started with Dan Marley playing a pretty good defense on the pick and roll between Sean Elliott and Avery Johnson. And as that broke down, then they kicked it around to where Dave was. The shot clock started to run down, and that guy right there, knowing how much time, and he's not looking at the clock, he just has a sense of how much time it takes before you have to put up a shot. He can see Dave is trying to pass, and it's time to gamble, and he gambled, and it paid off.
Big difference in the home cooking this series for Barkley. 1 of 2, 15 points. Spurs by 1. Again, they start low to Robinson. Re-entry by AJ, and he burns about a 12-foot jump shot. 14 for the Admiral. The Spurs have had a pretty good record in the playoffs of expanding halftime leads, although they weren't able to Tuesday. They did Saturday and they did Sunday. Good touch pass. Low rejection. Robinson. Mark West never knew what hit him. Ellis pushed out by Richard Dumas, who has yet to have any kind of impact at all in this game. He's only taken 1 shot. He missed that. He has no rebounds, and that's his first foul.
Another look of the touch pass from, I guess that was Dumas into Mark West, and Robinson recovered right at the basket for the block.
Good catch by Ellis, not expecting that pass. Underthrown, Dumas got the steal. When you talked about how these teams know each other so well, you can tell it in how they're getting their steals. They're getting it off reading where the ball is headed before it's thrown. Barkley set that tone with those 7 steals in game 2. AJ left alone on the baseline.
Kevin Johnson looks like the designated double team, whether Sean gets the ball or David Robinson. Nobody else is drawing that kind of double team unless they're posting J.R. Reed. But as he came off to try to help on Sean, Avery Johnson got away from him.
Barkley by himself comes up short. Sean Elliott tries to race up the floor. AJ back behind him. Ellis for his 3rd 3 of the night. Knocked out of bounds, and a loose ball foul added to it against Sean Elliott. His first, 2nd against the team. Willie Anderson, barely 2 minutes gone in the 3rd quarter. In for Dale Ellis, and Oliver Miller is in for Mark West for the Suns. Jerry Smith, who had his left knee locked up on him when I was told in the first half, can play in the second half.
I went by him when I was coming at the halftime, and he said he was all right. I asked him if he could play. He said yes.
KJ has 11. Suns within 3, 62-59. Elliott posting KJ. Power jam. It won't go. Barkley got a hand on it. Rips it away from Sean. Sheer power from Barkley. Late whistle on Robinson, whose feet got tangled up with Kevin Johnson. First foul on the Admiral.
2 Jack Madden calls in a row right at the basket. Barkley able to get away with a lot of contact on Sean right at the hoop. You see the low hand and the ball, he's got his hand up on the ball, but he's got his hand in Sean's chest. And then Robinson wanted a charge there we didn't get to see.
Reed in Barkley's jersey. And knocks it away from him. Now another Jack Madden call. He's gone to the hat trick. And it's the second on J.R. Reed. You really notice in playoffs if one official goes on a tear and the others let him play. In this case, it's Madden. Madden now trying to clear some of our photographers a little farther back along the baseline as the fans respond with a familiar chant. .12 to go in the third. Suns within 3. Barkley again sets up low against J.R. Reed. Double team comes. Kevin Johnson on the dish. Oliver Miller. And it looked like goaltending again. Looked like one of the Suns grabbed the rim. Robinson ahead of the pack. Off the backboard. Barkley with the loose ball. Hop and a skip. No good. Fans wanted to travel. That was just a good jump stop. Boy, is this heated up in this third quarter. Fans are inflamed by those 3 calls in a row. Quick turn, short for David. Got it back from Miller. And it's fouled by Barkley. His second.
Oh, and they're not going to give him the 2 points. Look at Dave going to the free throw line. Jake O'Donnell's got this foul on the floor as Robinson's turning to the basket.
Ruled to have been not shooting. 62-61, J.R. Reed. 8:20, third quarter jumper. Tap heroically attempted by Robinson. And they're going to call the loose ball foul on Marley of the Suns. And that makes one they like. That could have been loose ball David. Marley's first and said team's third. Spurs are consciously trying to get the Admiral on track here offensively, but consistent double team pressures made that tough. Stolen by Dan Marley. Not many off-the-ball steals here. Not many guys picking others' pockets. It's just getting into the passing lane. That's where the steals are coming.
And they're coming in the late seconds of the 24-second clock when the Spurs look like they're not sure exactly where they're going with the ball.
And the missed jumper by Avery Johnson.
It seems like the Suns are a little more sure.
Spurs are now 49% from the field. Suns are down to 46% from the field. Spurs now have a 2-rebound edge, so that has turned around. 24-22. Shot clock's down to 5. At some point, Barkley's going to make up his mind. Finally, spin move, fall away. No good. Barely in time. In transition, Johnson slips it underneath to J.R. Reed. Great look by Avery Johnson.
J.R. Reed just kept moving. Avery still watching him. He had Sean go wide, but he waited for J.R. to clear.
That ends 3 minutes and 10 seconds of scoreless play by either team. KJ traffic. Barkley touch pass. Easy 2. Oliver Miller.
Really nice interior passing. From Kevin Johnson to Barkley and to Miller.
That may be the most decided edge that the Suns have over the Spurs, their ability to see that extra pass. David Robinson remarked on it in the first game. He said they managed to make it easy on themselves. They always find whoever has the best shot. That's something that our team needs to work on. Timeout. 6:37 in the third. 64-63 Spurs. 6:37 in the third. 64-63 Spurs by 1. Shot clock at 5 as Reed powers up the hook. No chance against Barkley's smothering defense. This is a 1 or a 2-point game. What highlight do you think many stations across the country are likely to go back to, as they did in Game 5 of the Lakers series? Well, that goaltend. Marley crowded by Anderson. Shot clock down to 5. Barkley short consistently in the second half, and he's just 6 of 17 from the field. When he shot badly, that's when the Spurs have tended to go on these offensive runs. So far, not happening here in the third quarter. Reed maneuvers in and out again over Oliver Miller that time. Tough angle for JR. Third quarter still searching for a rhythm. Marley on the quick turnaround. Who wants it more? Out of bounds to the Spurs. As Shaq Madden makes a popular call, unless you call Westfall. Terry Cummings for J.R. Reed. What is it? Is it the heightened defense? The team's starting to get tight now. It's just 7-6 Phoenix this entire quarter.
I think the defense is they're starting to adjust to where the Suns are going to take the shot. This game is a little different than the last game. Each game changes a little bit. The Suns, we've seen them anticipate where the passes are going in the second half.
Reed to shoot. Banging it in at the buzzer. Sean Elliott, Spurs by 3.
But like that last time JR shot, Barkley was there. This time Marley was there. Sean makes the play anyway.
Stripped by Cummings. Foot race. Anderson. Robinson. Timeout Phoenix. Well, we wondered who would get the first burst of the second half. Here it is. He struggled tonight. There's no question. He's got 13 rebounds. But since the first quarter, he does not have a bucket. And is 6 of 17 for the game. 0 for 5 in this third period. Marley left alone. Hits another three-pointer. His third of the game. 18 points. Cuts it to 2. To figure the Suns are too good a three-point shooting team to struggle this entire series the way they have most of the way. And for Dan Marley, the lid has come off tonight. Anderson. Cummings paddles. Steve Javy says off Barkley. Spurs get a break.
I'm not sure either official that had a good look at that knew who hit it out.
So a fresh 24, and Barkley almost steals the inbounds pass, knocks it out, knocks Robinson down, and now the fans want what would be Barkley's third personal. He won't get it.
The Spurs really nothing, no good pick off the inbounds that Robinson has to go up and get it. Barkley with the collision.
Elliott takes Marley and hits as he's fouled. A strong drive to the hoop by Sean Elliott.
Elliott breaks down Marley to the baseline, so the help can't get there in time. You see two, Miller and Barkley, trying to come and help, but Sean's got the left hand off the glass.
Marley's second foul, and we check it. They now have officially only one foul on Barkley. We thought previously they had 2 on him. Ceballos is in. Cedric had 4 points in the first half, replacing Richard Dumas as the Spurs again go up by 5. 3:40 in the third. Spurs win, we play on. Suns win, and it's over. Shot clock down to 4, off balance, and a late whistle by O'Donnell on Terry Cummings. Second on TC, 5th against the team with 3:29 in the period. Bonus now in effect for Phoenix.
Terry Cummings and David Robinson talking about how they got switched off defensively. Robinson was guarding Barkley, and then Terry ends up with Barkley. You see the Suns spread the court. A little bit of a bump. David Robinson could get that call. He'd average 50 in this league.
We talked about this during the regular season as Danny Ainge comes in for Ceballos. Well, that was quick. You would think, based on public perceptions, that the officials wouldn't like Charles Barkley. The opposite seems to be the case. They seem to, obviously, they just assumed he didn't have the tantrums, but they seem to really like him and enjoy him.
Everybody likes Charles Barkley that's around him. He's intelligent, very quick-witted, funny guy to play with and play against.
Cummings on an over feed from Johnson. Terry Cummings has come up with 8 big points off the bench on 4 for 5 shooting. Spurs again lead by 5, 73-68.
Here comes the same pick where Terry Cummings ends up on Barkley, and then they try to isolate Cummings because of his foot speed.
Dump down. Rejection, Robinson. Mercy.
So
they may not find that ball.
Dave reading the Marley cut. You see the jump in, and David coming off Miller and reading that Martin. And of course, once again, Marley has that quick shot in the lane. David read it.
Great extra pass. Once again, Ainge with the touch pass to Miller. You have got to defend the Suns all 24 seconds, or they'll kill you. In that 1 second, you don't. 73-70, 2:40 in the period. Cummings works on Barkley. Ainge to double. DC needs help. Shot clock at 3. Steps in. Just barely got it off in time. Not a pretty possession. Ainge. Too hard. Robinson influencing him to missing the lay-in. And it's 3-on-3. AJ all the way. Count it with a foul on Kevin Johnson. Kobe, these may be the seeds of the second half dominance that the Spurs had Saturday and Sunday games that turned on plays just like that one by Avery Johnson.
Well, you can't leave it to other people. It's a team game, but when Johnson saw the opportunity, he went strong up the basket.
First miss at the line by the Spurs. 9 of 10 now. Suns are 9 of 13. Phoenix down to 45% from the field. Spurs 51%. Extra pass that time, knocked out. And it looked as if Barkley touched it last. Jabby finally agrees.
It's really hard to call a foul against Charles Barkley because he climbs in your face like this. Robinson real sure that it went off the Suns on that play.
Yeah, that looks like
David doesn't argue calls very often unless he thinks he's right, and that was off Charles. You see the posturing that Charles goes through when he knows the ball was off him.
Elliott trying to get Marley off balance. Oh, what a shot by Sean. He's hammered by Miller. Had enough to put it down.
Once again, a Spur not leaving it to anybody else. This is Elliott. Once again beats Barley to the baseline. Hesitates a little bit. Miller not sure where to be for the block. And Sean with a strong move.
Second foul on Oliver Miller. And the Spurs can get their biggest lead of the game as Sean finishes the three-point play.
Lucas,
78-70.
Excuse me, Dave. Lucas trying to get Robinson a little bit of rest in this game. He had He ran out of gas late in the fourth in game 5, and he's got JR in to see if Dave can rest his last minute and a half before the quarter break.
Barkley immediately testing J.R. Reed, and he's whistled for the 3rd time. Looking like all ball. This is the argument, though, of the NBA. The superstars get the call. Well, most of the time, it's difficult for opposing teams to be convinced that David Robinson doesn't get those same calls that the Spur fans are convinced Charles Barkley is getting because he's a superstar.
Well, I think you're right. I think a guy like Charles Barkley he's so quick to decide on defense. He'll swat at the ball, and those are difficult calls to make. And then he is so strong that he is able to make plays where he uses his strength to get deliberately try to get the contact first.
Barkley with a pair still does not have a field goal since the first quarter, but he has managed to get his somehow. 19 points.
And the good news for the Spurs is that because of the game that they've had to keep, Westfall's had to keep Barkley in the game this whole third quarter.
And that a costly foul on J.R. Reed. That's one that he shouldn't have had to commit because it was on an unforced turnover. His 4th. So he and Avery Johnson each with 4. And Reed is a guy that John Lucas will need in the 4th quarter. He has, we are told, Larry Smith to go to if necessary, although he did twist that knee in the first half. But for offense from that power forward spot, Reed, with the absence of Antoine Carr, the only guy who can give it to him consistently, although Cummings has played extremely well tonight. Suns were down by 8, and here they come back. They've cut it in half, 78-74. 4 points for Frank Johnson.
I think Terry Cummings is capable of making the shot, but when he tries to create it by himself like he has all of his career, he just can't get it done. If he would set a pick and force the Spurs into some kind of a switch, he would end up with a shot that he can make.
Can't get more open than J.R. Reed was.
And the beneficiary of Terry Cummings going down to set a pick for J.R. Miller not willing to come off and help.
12 points for Reed. Stolen Cummings. Reed ahead. Has Elliott on the flank. Shaw wide open. Back up by 8.
You saw Frank Johnson go down. He was trying to take a charge in the middle of traffic on J.R. Reed, which would have been his 5th. But Jack Madden wouldn't have any part of it.
Oliver Miller turns on Reed, misses, tap in. That might have been accidentally hit by JR. I think it was. They'll credit Barkley with his first field goal since the first quarter. AJ really picking up the pace and creating these open shots now. And that as Willie went across the paint is on Ames, and that's his 4th. Well, they got Willie upside of the head with 21.1 seconds.
You see Willie trying to get in the middle of the lane, bangs Willie on the side of the head as he comes through. Willie would hope that he got that call in game 5.
Normally a broken bone enough to get that call. This time just a brief haircut. Del Negro in. Avery Johnson has managed to complete the 4th quarter, still with 4 fouls. And of Willie's 12 came in the 2nd period. And the Spurs battled from 6 down at the end of the first to 2 up.
The Suns with 4 guards and Charles Barkley in the game. The Spurs going to try to line up and defend this last shot of the quarter.
Kevin Johnson ready to go to work. Marley denied the 3-pointer. Reach in Anderson, and it's all over in the 3rd quarter. The Spurs couldn't have defended the quarter-end play much better than they did. So John Lucas has a 7-point lead heading into the 4th quarter of Game 6. A must quarter. And they make him give it up. Frank Johnson left alone, bottom of the iron. Offensive foul. against JR would have been his 5th. Big call.
JR, good decision here. Frank Johnson left wide open off the double team. Just crashes into JR as he goes down right at the basket.
Gutsy move by JR, but having been convinced that he got there in time, a good call. And the first foul on Frank Johnson. Backcourt pressure applied by the Suns. Now in the 4th quarter Tuesday, their pressure was heightened defensively, and that forced the Spurs into some advantageous shots with the shot clock running down in their half-court set. It really slowed the pace, and it wasn't to the Spurs' liking. Three-pointer Elliott is to their liking. The biggest lead of the night, 10 points.
Good pick and roll. Great read by Vinny Del Negro as he came off Cummings' pick. The defense backed off Elliott just a little bit and gave him room.
Barkley answers in a foul. This is where he decided that there would be no more set offense. The offense would consist of throwing it into him.
Just too strong. A real quick step around of Terry Cummings and a great pass from Danny Ainge.
Cummings with his 3rd. Tom Chambers will come in for Mark West. Suns really doesn't have anything at all from either Chambers or West. Miller's had a good game, though. 10 points off the bench. Barkley for the 3-point play to cut it back to 7. We did not get to the line in the first half. In the second half, 6 of 7, 24 points, 15 boards. Reed mismatch guarded by Marley, but he stays outside and misses the jump shot. That's a matchup where we want JR to overpower him on the drive. 3-guard look for the Suns. Ainge, Frank Johnson, and Marley. Chambers and Barkley in deep. Left alone, Tom Chambers. Scoreless Tuesday, 6 tonight. 3 of 5 from the field, and they've cut the lead in half with 5 unanswered points.
Well, this group right here, not as often on the court together as having David Robinson out there, obviously. And they're trying to make something work.
Missed again in the half-court set. David Robinson ready to check in next time out. But it may be too late to stop this Phoenix tie. They'll have to take the timeout as Danny Ainge's 3-pointer caps what is now an 8-0 Phoenix run. It was a 10-point. Anderson, Reed, and Elliott to line up for Lucas. Under duress now. Looked like they finally had a little breathing room.
Well, the Spurs have got to execute their offense. They've got to set the big picks, and they've got to make the shots.
Phoenix 3 for 3 in the period. They double David. Shot clock down to 5 for Anderson. Barkley with a board. Phoenix can tie or lead on this possession. It is amazing how quick they put the points on the board. Chambers knots it at 86. 10-3 Phoenix run in the first 3 minutes of the 4th quarter. The Spurs 1 of 4 from the field and turn it over. Offensive foul by Jack Madden on the Admiral, his 2nd personal.
I didn't see it. I'm not. We get another look at it, but it looked like Robinson was agreeing with him. He might have turned and hit Chambers.
Suns have taken their spark right away from him. Chambers, 6 of these 4th quarter points. And for whatever reason, the Spurs look flat out there right now. They won up by 10 with the first 3 points of this quarter, and they just had the wind die out of their sails at this point. Robinson will go to the line. Chambers having some harsh words with Frank Johnson.
I think he's just mad at himself. He let Robinson catch it where he didn't want him to. He didn't want to put him on the line. I think that's something they've been and see him hit himself on the chest. He's real angry at himself. They didn't want to give Robinson the free throws. I think that's one thing that that Westfall must be emphasizing is to make Robinson, make all the Spurs make their shots.
First miss. Robinson hit his first 4. And now a streak in the other direction. Phoenix ball up by 2. Boy, of all times to go flat, and that's what's happened. And the Suns have blood in their eye. They can get some much-needed rest. They can finish this series here. That's what they're thinking. Barkley, shot clock winding down, comes up short. He is 8 of 20 from the field, yet his club leads. What the Spurs went away from the other night was pounding it in, either on the drive or the pass. This time the drive rejected by Barkley, and J.R. Reed at last ends the run and ties it at 88-88.
The Spurs once again not sure what they're going to do. They tried to run a play which Phoenix overplayed, and just good touch pass from Robinson back into Reed, got the 2 points.
Not much question what the Suns are going to do. They're going to look for number 34. Ainge, 3-pointer. Pushed off. Chambers fouling J.R. Reed, his 3rd. But Westfall going to his experience, even though he's been a hot and cold performer all season and also in this series. He was able to rest Kevin Johnson for the first 4.5 minutes of this quarter, and now a fresh point guard in there.
I think he likes Frank Johnson's defense, and Frank was able to plug up the Spurs, the interior of the Suns defense. The Spurs had a difficult time getting through.
That would have counted for the Admiral. Chambers again, I believe. It might be Kevin Johnson this time. KJ, it is his 3rd, team's 3rd. You know, the Suns at this point may be considering that it's not that bad a strategy to put him on the line and prove whether he can make these free throws. He's missed 3 in a row.
I don't think they intended to, but it's working out very well for him.
Ellis for Sean Elliott.
Sean, I don't think has been out this half. Gets a little bit of a rest.
Well, David is streaky, as we all know. Maybe that starts a streak in the other direction. Barkley picks and rolls and scores just barely.
Great execution. Kevin Johnson reading Barkley, who out-quicks Robinson. It looked like he was there to set the pick.
And then Ellis looked away and almost got stripped by Barkley. Loose ball foul. Ellis, as he tried to get it back, he commits his 3rd. Spurs aren't careful. This could turn into a 5 or 6 point lead, which would look huge at this point of the game. A must stop. Chambers drives on Robinson, who just swallows him up and picks up the loose ball. Now kicks it away, and it's still Phoenix ball, but the shot clock is at 3.
3 seconds on the shot clock. 3 seconds.
Chambers once again yelling at himself at the play that he made. It's one of the really great offensive players to play in this game in the last few years, and he just didn't have anything against David Robinson.
That's the shot clock buzzer, throws it away. Shot clock violation. Chambers in there for his experience, but that's a very rookie-like mistake.
Well, he tried to get a shot off, and it just got blocked. JR just right on top of it.
Here comes Miller.
Really surprised he's not gone more with Miller. Although Chambers has hit 3 big baskets in this 4th quarter. Very static half-court game by the Spurs as J.R. Reed all alone. And he misses, and there's no one in position to rebound. We have seen that before, and when we've seen it, it's when the Spurs were struggling in the second half of the regular season.
Well, because of JR's rhythm, it's difficult for David to tell when Barkley's going to move off of him. He can't be in the lane 3 seconds, and so he has to wait and try to get a read on when J.R. Reed is going to shoot the shot. JR does a lot of bouncing with the ball when he's posting.
Boy, it could so easily be Phoenix by 4. How close that 3 by Marley was. Open shot, A.J. Had to have it, didn't. 5:35 remaining. And the Spurs have 6 points in this fourth quarter. Basically a repeat of Tuesday night, and they scored just 14. Barkley, three-pointer. Anderson with the board, finally transition, but Johnson laying in wait for that outlet pass. And it's Marley to Barkley. Foul by Anderson. Third on Willie, third on the team. He's not tired at all. We could play 2 more games the way he is coming to life in this fourth quarter. A not much choice foul by Willie Anderson. Cummings is back in. Elliott is back in. Replacing Anderson and Reed. Barkley 6 of 7 from the line all this half. And now it's the Suns who are being victimized by the in-and-out gremlin. Unimpressive shooting numbers, but he's still got his 26 points and his 18 rebounds. He finds a way one way or the other. Missed them both. Still a 1-point Suns lead.
First one was a little short and rattled out. Second one he tried to adjust, was way long, hit the back of the arm. Just tired. He's not sure how much legs to put in the shot.
The Spurs have got a hold. They can find their legs. Ellis, long 2-pointer. Spurs back in front. Dale Ellis's first points of the half. Oliver Miller checks in for the Suns. Replacing Tom Chambers. KJ Miller, touch pass. Barkley right back to Big O for 2. Beautiful.
Terrific pass by the rookie Miller down to Barkley and back to Miller. Made the shot.
Ellis tries to take Ainge on the dribble. 4:20 in regulation. Elliott's had a brief rest. Shot clock at 3. Johnson, Cummings. Shot clock violation. What's the call? Foul, bailing out the Spurs. It's on Miller. His third, team's 4th. Boy, is that a stroke of luck. Timeout, 4 minutes, 4 seconds in regulation.
San Antonio set up to defend the pick and roll, but Barkley just slips it and goes right to the basket, and Johnson reads it and hits him with the ball for the layup.
Terry Cummings is on the line for 2, 4:04 to play. Now he needs 1 for the tie. First trip to the line for TC. He's 4 for 7 now the entire postseason. And the Spurs are now 2 of 6 in the fourth quarter from the line. Not only struggling from the field. They were up 88-78 when Phoenix went to work. And it's been a very workmanlike comeback on their part. Nothing spectacular individually. KJ rolling off the Barkley screen.
Once again, same play I was just talking about. KJ's watching Barkley. Barkley's trying to make his way down to do the pick and roll. Avery Johnson knows Barkley's coming, and Kevin spins and beats him to the basket for a layup.
Robinson steps in, wrapped up by Barkley. That's a 2-shot foul, I believe. And also the 5th team foul. So it would have been a 2-shot foul anyway.
That time we saw it work, where Ellis came off, Miller tried to step up, and Robinson went into the lane and got the ball.
Well, that's half the job. Get to the line. Now the other part. David has missed 3 of his 4 in this period. 18 points. Only 4 from the field in this half. Nothing from the field in the fourth. But a clutch pair knocks it at 94. 3.5 minutes.
Avery Johnson doing a good job trying to keep Kevin Johnson from getting his hands on the ball. Overplaying, he finally rubs Avery off of Miller.
KJ takes AJ and draws the foul. Really think the rest of the way, the Phoenix offense may get very predictable in that it'll be Kevin Johnson trying to make whatever he can happen off of Charles Barkley, and it's just up to the Spurs to solve it somehow.
Well, he just, Avery, he beats Avery off the dribble. Terry Cummings late getting over there. Of course, not really something he was part of the plan for him to do. And Kevin Johnson deliberately trying to draw a couple of free throws.
That's the 14th foul, one more, and the Suns will have the bonus. 14 points, 8 assists for Kevin Johnson, who puts him back up by 2.
Same play again.
Ellis will try to take Ainge with a screen by Cummings. He's wide open. AJ finally looks at him for the three-pointer and the lead. Robinson scaling the heights. Can't come up with it. It's Johnson. Miller. And back to Kevin Johnson to slow it a bit underneath Miller. Boy, he had a mismatch against Avery Johnson, and he couldn't put it down. What a golden opportunity. Elliott's three-pointer is no good. Rebounded by Barkley, his 19th. Phoenix ball up 2.5 minutes. You don't need three-pointers yet. It'd be nice, but you don't need three-pointers yet. Way too much time for that. Even Ainge not taking a three. 3 to shoot. In and out. Miller. Barkley. Rejection. Barkley screaming for the goaltend call. Or the foul. He got neither. 2 minutes in regulation. Cummings turns on Miller. And the Suns continue to find the defensive answer. 11 points, all the Spurs advantage in this fourth quarter. They led it by 7, almost the identical score in which they led Tuesday. They now trail by 2. Shot clock down. It's Miller. Fouled with 1 tick on the 24-second clock by Cummings, who now has 5. That's the 5th against the team. Both teams have the bonus for the final 1:31 of regulation, and the Suns want timeout. Postseason just 60% from the line.
Yikes.
Suns have missed 3 straight from the line. Spurs have missed 4 fourth quarter from the line. He was long, then he was short. It's still 96-94 Suns. Robinson beating Miller. And he's tied up.
Full isolation. You see Kevin Johnson coming. Robinson's trying to beat Miller along the baseline. Oliver Miller, nice block from behind right at the rim.
Lucas wants Anderson in defensively for his height against Kevin Johnson, so Avery Johnson to the bench with 1:14.
Now watch for the Suns to try to move on this tap to try to go to the most likely person. David Robinson's left-handed. You see Ainge trying to get position. They're trying to anticipate where David will get this tap if he gets it. And they'll move to try and steal it.
Ellis looked right at David and got it just barely out to Willie. Robinson stripped and fouled. 1:06 remaining. The Admiral can tie it on the line. That's number 4. I thought they called it on Kevin Johnson. Now they call it on Oliver Miller, and it's his 3rd. No, it's his 4th. Also would have been the 4th on KJ. David missed his first 3 of this period, made his last 3. 96-95 Phoenix. Whoever loses this game is going to have a ton of what-ifs to look back at all summer. KJ, no look. Miller missed the jam. KJ in on the follow tap. And the Suns take a 3-point lead with 49.1 seconds. Timeout, San Antonio. Terrific concentration by Kevin Johnson. Everybody else looking at the rim, and KJ had the presence of mind to look at where it came off the rim.
Great execution of that pick and roll as Kevin Johnson came into the lane, and he looked the defense to his left and got it to Miller, who missed the dunk, but KJ stayed right with it. See him look the defense away. Miller's got the dunk, but Robinson's right there. And KJ just hanging around, knocks it back in.
If you're Paul Westphal, you are assuming, I'm sure, that David Robinson's going to have this game in his hands to win or lose. You probably don't mind fouling, especially the 3-point lead. You don't mind fouling. And that seed has got to be planted in his mind about his failures at the line in the fourth quarter. You can't really forget that, can you?
No, I think he'll be thinking about those all summer if they lose this game.
We're up by 10 points early in this period. Phoenix called time, and they have been in total command of this game ever since. It was 88-78 when they got that timeout call, and they have methodically taken the Spurs apart in the half-court set. The Spurs have managed just 3 field goals in this entire quarter. Elliott's 3-pointer, Reed with 2, Ellis with a 2-pointer. What it comes down to is that team has confidence and knows what they want to accomplish and how to go about it in the half-court set. The Spurs, despite the urgings of the big dog, have not shown that same confidence.
Well, I think the best that we've seen the Spurs run their offense in the half-court was against Phoenix's overplay pressure defense for a good part of Game 5 in Phoenix. Phoenix is playing it a little bit differently right now, and they're making the Spurs make shots. They're rotating very well. They're taking Robinson out. If Elliott gets it, Kevin Johnson's coming at him. If Robinson gets it, Kevin Johnson's coming at Dave. And the Spurs aren't really finding where the openings are in this kind of a defense, recognizing where the opportunities are. And they've had some opportunities, some excellent opportunities.
This has been a good 3-point shooting night. In deep, David, power move, follow, knocked away by Barkley, and that might do it. He put it on the deck. That gave Barkley a chance to strip it. The cardinal sin, if you're a big man, do not put it on the floor. They foul Kevin Johnson with 30.3 seconds. 4th foul on Willie Anderson. David will now think not only about the missed free throws, but about this all summer if the Spurs don't pull this out somehow.
Well, you see Miller over the back at Robinson. This is the difficulty of trying to make the big play from the center position in a lot of traffic. He gets bumped quite a bit trying to get that ball up onto the glass.
But you just can't expect a whistle this time of the game.
In that kind of traffic, in this kind of a game, you're not going to get that call unless you're Charles Barkley in his building. But Barkley is he's so adept at those up fakes and those strength moves that go right up in between people.
Ellis 3-pointer, no. Must rebound, is lost out of bounds by Barkley, and it's still Spurs ball with 26.6 seconds. Well, they figured they probably would only get it back one more time and might as well go for the quick 3 before they can set the defense. And Ellis just missing that time. The 22nd timeout leaves John Lucas with only one more full timeout. You say, well, do you really need a 3? You're down by 4. The problem is you're probably going to have to foul Phoenix, and the likelihood is they will at least make one free throw, so then you would be in need of a 3 at some point.
Well, they certainly got the right shot. You can't, you wouldn't say Dale Ellis wide open. the bad move. It looked like he had a good shot at the hoop.
Well, two guys who were nowhere to be found in the rotation when the season began on the floor as the season is in danger of ending. Willie Anderson and Terry Cummings, along with Dale Ellis, Elliott, and Robinson. Miller, Barkley, Marley, Ainge, and KJ for the Suns. Ellis again, blanketed by Ainge, who picks up Elliott. Shot clock at 18. Leaning three-pointer is no good. Robinson with a rebound. Back out. Ellis, good look at it. Three-pointer. Got it. He got it. It's a one-point game. 14 seconds. He got a foul, and there's the foul with 11 seconds to go on Willie Anderson, his fifth. But now, as we'll look again at the three-point shot, the possibility is there for the Spurs.
Well, here's the leaner by Sean Elliott. And then Robinson catches, has the presence to find Ellis, and he got one more look at it. It was all he needed.
KJ a little bit late. The Suns have their best free throw shooter where they want him, Danny Ainge. And that one touches no iron. First trip tonight to the foul line for Danny Ainge. One of the few times you'll ever see Lucas sitting.
That's some tough free throws to make. You haven't been up there yet. You're tired.
He missed it. Robinson and Barkley battle. We might have a foul on Barkley. We do. A loose ball foul in that scramble on Charles Barkley.
Now we're talking about some free throws. Another look, Danny Ainge, a lot of pressure on this second free throw. A little bit short, no legs off the front, and Barkley trying to get it back in, fouls his former Dream Team member. Big, important foul.
Free throw shooting. In regulation, 100 to 100. You know, somehow you just knew both of these were going to go. You just knew.
Now the
you did know, didn't you? I knew. I should have told you.
Well, you should have told me. I was worried. But now the question for Lucas is, how does he defend this last second play? He knows Kevin Johnson capable of beating his, most of the guys he's got off the dribble. Do you rotate to help? Do you come off people? Who are you going to leave open? Who's most likely to beat you from the Phoenix Suns point of view? You know, if you're playing against Chicago, you know who not to get the ball, not to let him get the ball. And that's Jordan against this team. Phoenix Suns have a lot of weapons. You don't know if they're going to try to get it to that guy. Do you put Dave Robinson on this guy? There's a lot of questions, and this is why coaches have right here.
Here's another question for Paul Westphal. How soon do you want that shot? Obviously, ideally, you hit at the buzzer and you run home. But do you take it with enough time to allow a possible tip-in? They want Frank Johnson to inbound the ball at midcourt, and the Spurs will not. Well, now they will get Avery Johnson in. They will make this change. AJ on Frank Johnson, replacing Cummings, and they will put AJ on the ball. Robinson on Barkley. It's his game to win, or we go to overtime. Barkley 20-footer, yes, with 1.8 seconds. Charles Barkley with an MVP jump shot. And like David Robinson's free throws, there was never a doubt. Look at it again.
Barkley wants a clean look at it, no bump. This is what we're talking about. You got to be a brave 18-foot jump shot or better. He knocks it in. Other than that, it's going to be a defensive mistake. But Barkley wants a clean shot, no bump, because he feels like he can make it. So he backs Dave up a little bit, and he's going for the jumper all the way.
Robinson is blocked, and it's all over. Oliver Miller rejects David Robinson, and the Suns have won the Western Conference semifinal 4-2. A stunned ending for the 92-93 season and to NBA basketball at Hemisphere Arena. The Suns hit the shot that the Spurs could not hit. That is the story of this game and the story of this series. Barkley did it.